What's going on? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy, and we're talking today about a predicament that the Colts have that's kind of unique to them, in that they signed a lot of their own players, and they also welcomed in some rookies. But it means that they're going to have to say goodbye to some key veterans and some guys who've had some big plays in their career with the Colts that it might be time to say goodbye to. All that and more on this video. If you haven't yet liked and subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that. If you've watched a few of our videos and you decide that you want to be a part of the community, you want to be here as the Colts rise back up to the top that we're seeing. If you believe in that, be sure to like, subscribe, be a part of the community. We would love to have you. But today we're talking about 3 key veterans that the Colts are going to be saying goodbye to. That might not seem like a big deal, but honestly, when you've spent any amount of time with a team like this, I mean, it is a big deal. It is unfortunate. So we are talking about that. This comes to us today from A to Z Sports. And the first one we're going to talk about is Colts veteran quarterback Sam Ehlinger. Now, Sam Ehlinger has been with the team now since 2021. And if you remember, to go back 2 years ago to the most hopefully forgettable season of all time, you look at the Indianapolis Colts and where they were and what we had to endure going through the Matt Ryan era, having so many primetime games just absolutely ruined because of just a very bad football team, injuries plagued. But in that time, Sam Ehlinger was randomly promoted to starting quarterback. And he honestly didn't have terrible games. But I definitely think that we looked at that, that was the most. Can we just talk about how bonkers that was, of how he was promoted, Matt Ryan was benched, and Frank Reich was fired, Jeff Saturday was brought in. I mean, it literally felt like a circus for a season. But in all of that, we got to see what Sam Ehlinger had and what he was made of. And then fast forward to next season, and Sam Ehlinger wasn't even the backup quarterback. He was quarterback 3. Gardner Minshew was the backup. Anthony Richardson was the starter. And so now I think, in my personal opinion, that it's time to say goodbye to Sam Ehlinger. This is one that I feel very confident in saying arrivederci and goodbye to, because I just don't think he's got a spot, especially when you look at Kedon Slovis, Jason Bean. And I think both of those are, like he says here, both are real competition for Sam Ehlinger. I would say that, in my opinion, and obviously you see it here, Kedon Slovis is probably the clear choice at quarterback 3, but don't be surprised if Jason Bean makes the practice squad or even makes it on the active roster. We saw that before, where he's being brought in as not only as a quarterback, but as a quarterback and wide receiver. With there being more spots open for the wide receiver position, don't be surprised if he makes his way onto the roster as a wide receiver. That could provide some really, really fun, dynamic plays going forward into the future. But all that to say, I think Sam Ehlinger's time is done with the Indianapolis Colts, and don't be surprised if you see him on the list. This is also his last year on contract, and so I think it's just a natural time to say goodbye to. So the next one on this list is Mo Alie-Cox. And Mo Alie-Cox has been with the Colts for a long time. He's had some really good plays with the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, this guy being an absolute freak of nature, I believe being 6'7", and just having some really, really good hands. Mo Alie-Cox has also battled a lot of injuries, though. And so with that, you see, is he worth the extra spot? Is the question then you have to ask yourself. Is this guy who's going on his age 30 season, is he worth the roster spot? And in my opinion, no, especially when you look at the tight end room that he has around him and the salary cap that he brings with him. Pause for a second on the salary cap. That doesn't matter if we're not ever going to sign any free agents. Like we've seen, still waiting on that DB signing that everyone has promised. I don't think it's coming. I think that they're content with who they've got in the DB room, and it doesn't matter who's going to get hurt or anything since then. Okay, back to resume. I don't think that Mo Alie-Cox has a spot on this offense going forward. I think that this is a team that has 5 really good tight ends. And I think that Kylan Grenson, I think if he can stay healthy, he's got a real shot. Jelani Woods, I've said it before and I say it again, I am a Jelani Woods believer. I think Jelani Woods is going to have a really, really good monster season, But even you look further, Will Mallory had some good catches last year. Drew Ogletree had some good catches last year. All of these guys have come in clutch, and it was all in the absence of Mo Alie-Cox. And so I think when you look at his cap hit at $6.8 million or whatever that figure technically is, I don't think that Mo Alie-Cox has a shot, but I also think that Mo Alie-Cox can be really dynamic in another offense. You think of him in an offense like the Ravens offense. That could be really exciting, and they could, use him as a tight end too. But when you look at specifically where the Indianapolis Colts are and do we need him, I don't think that he has a spot in this room going forward. And again, that would be really sad because I've liked Mo Alie-Cox. Again, so many plays come to mind of so many reach over the guy touchdown catches from Mo Alie-Cox, and really he's kind of collateral in this whole thing that we have, which is that the Colts have a unique situation, and we see it every single year. Sam Ehlinger is going to appear on graphics all throughout the season of the amount of starting quarterbacks the Indianapolis Colts have had. Mo Alie-Cox has been collateral in that, and that he has played with Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett, Sam Ehlinger, Matt Ryan, Gardner Minshew. He played with I don't remember if he even had a snap with Anthony Richardson, but again, these are guys that he's played with so many quarterbacks, never having that consistency. Nyheim Hines talked about it, and just the difficulty of playing with a different guy every single year. Mo Alie-Cox is a fell victim to that, but I think he could still be really good on another team, probably at a different cap hit. Okay, so last one on our list for veterans that will probably not be making it to past the cut time is Danny Pinter. Danny Pinter has been good at times, and he's been really, really catastrophically bad at times. Danny Pinter, he missed all of last season due to an injury in training camp, and the year before, he was on that offensive line that looked like they had no idea how to block. And I'm not saying I could block any better, but I'm saying that if you threw me in that offensive line, I might be able to do a half-decent job in comparison to where they are. Obviously, that's a joke. But Danny Pinter, he struggled when he's asked to play guard, which is really difficult because the Colts need a guy who can play guard or center or guard or tackle. They need some dynamic guys in those offensive line 2 spots. They have their starting 5, and I think it looks good. I think their starting 5 looks really, really good, especially you look at Big Q, you look at Ryan Kelly, all those guys. Braden Smith, I'm excited to see him back from injury. But I think you look at a guy like Danny Pinter, and I think that his time has come and gone, especially when you look at the powerhouse that they signed in Tanner Bortolini. We talked about Tanner Bortolini a couple of videos ago, but I think that it goes without saying that when you have a guy who can play comfortably at guard and center, it's probably time to put him in a position to be able to excel and to say goodbye to Danny Pinter again after the injuries and after what we saw when he did have to play a starting guard position. And, even Matt Ryan and Sam Ehlinger that whole season, it looks rough. It looks really, really bad. So I think you look at all that, and it's time to say goodbye to a guy like Danny Pinter. And these are guys that I think they've had their time as Colts. Mo Alie-Cox is really the only one that I'd be really sad to see go. But again, it's just kind of like the natural ebb and flow of NFL teams, and especially as you get to this place in the season. So those are the 3. Let me know if there's any more that you can think of that you think are going to be on the chopping block come this regular season 53-man drop. And yeah, let me know if you have any more in your head that you're like, these are guys that are going to go, that are going to make your predictions in the comments below, and we will see you on the next one.